Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply. You're listening to WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of our program for today. Good morning to all our first time and usual listeners. Good morning to those of you at home and abroad. Good morning to those who have joined us via the different social media platforms such as Facebook, YouTube. Thank you so much for being a part of our program. This is Voices on WINN FM 98.9, and I am your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. And we are continuing our coverage of International Women's Day. Yes, we are continuing our coverage of outstanding women in the Federation of St Kitts and Nevis, and we are taking a look at the work they have done and the work that they continue to do. You know, some have said that we are probably celebrating the women too much. I don't believe so. I think women should be celebrated every opportunity that you get. Women should be celebrated every day. Without them, I don't know where we would have been. And so here at WINN, we want to continue, our coverage of outstanding women in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. During Leadership Matters on Tuesday night, present were a number of phenomenal, outstanding females. President of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Giselle Matthews, is the first woman to hold that position in the 70-year history of the organization. And I believe that is indeed a remarkable achievement. And Miss Matthews was featured as one of the prominent women in the Federation on Leadership Matters last evening. So we will hear a clip shortly from her testimony as to her story about being a woman and undertaking, that role of being the president of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the first female to hold that post. Let us have a listen of Giselle Matthews, the president of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
To give a background on our journey of leadership and our leadership roles. And quite honestly, my story is not one of struggle, but probably one of, some might say, privileged and fortunate circumstances. I was not born into difficult circumstances. My father was a successful businessman, and we had a stable family life with a mother and father, siblings, supportive grandparents, etc. I was born on North Bay Street in St Kitts on May 24th, 1968, to Charles and Margaret Brisbane. I attended the St Teresa's Convent School, at the time now ICCS, and the Bastille High School until grade 11, and completed the latter part of my high school education in Toronto, Canada, at a girls' private boarding school, Branksome Hall. After gaining my Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration and a minor in journalism from the University of Western Ontario in London, Canada, I returned home and joined Odie Brisbane and Sons, my father's business, in 1992. Following 3 months of him insisting I pursue the exercise of finding myself a job. After 3 months, I found myself a job, 2 jobs, one at TDC in HR and one at the Central Bank. When my father decided to advise me I was coming to work for him, he just wanted to teach me how to apply for a job and prove that I was actually employable. He asked for 5 years, I gave him 14. Under my father's very strict guidance and tutelage, I worked zealously to expand the family business of Odie Brisbane and Sons and set up a sales and marketing department. I was assigned a lady called Trifina Douglas, who many of you might know. I think she's been with the firm close to 35 years. And he assigned her to oversee me. She was extremely strict. And I went to every supermarket, small shop in St Kitts and Nevis with her. Many thought I was working for B&K Supermarket or Rams. I was packing shelves, dusting, doing whatever I needed to do to look after my product line. My father insisted I took a toolbox with all the necessary tools to ensure that our product was always well presented, so that when the agents came on island, they would be proud of the work I was doing. I held a bachelor's degree. I was paid $900 a month, and out of that, $50 had to go to charity. He taught me at a very young age, at 24, that on my first salary, I needed to choose between 3 charities: the Children's Home, the JCs, or the Pediatric Assistance League. I chose the Pediatric Assistance League, and the rest is history. In 2009, I took on the presidency of the Pediatric Assistance League until 2019. I served for 10 years, and I became a member when I was only 23 years old. And that's how I learned charity. Having had enough of the food industry, I decided in 2002, after my father retired and sold the majority shares of his company to Goddard Enterprises in Barbados, I decided I wanted to pursue a completely different path, and I thought I had the wings to fly to do that. In 2003, I took up a completely new path in the position of general manager at Sunlink, which is a leading Caribbean destination management company, which was at the time setting up shop at the Marriott Resort, which had just opened. I led a dynamic sales team of 25 people and an event management into an industry that was completely new to St. Kitts and to me. It was a matter of swim or sink, and I've always liked to swim. And so I learned very quickly the job, and we took this destination, I believe, into an area of corporate incentive programming, which today is a huge area of business for most of the named hotels. However, my desire to start my own business in 2007, I realized my dream was really to open my own business. And so the birth of Harper's Office Depot in 2007. When I approached my father, he asked me, why did I think office supplies would sell? I said, well, it's a purpose. People need a purpose. And so he supported me, and hence the store was opened on 4th Street in Bastille. In 2015, I was able to purchase what was then the Nova Foods factory, and renovated it into the modern Harper's Office Superstore, now in the industrial site. My real passion is still the community, and so today I still serve in the background on the Pediatric Assistance League as a trustee. At multiple periods over my work life, I also served as vice chair in Music Festival Committee, Marketing Committee. I was heavily involved in relaunching of Juve bands back in the 90s for the early Juve parties in the parking lot at ODB, for any of you people who remember those days. From 2010 to 2019, I served also on the board of the St Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, of course, for the past 5 years. But my previous position was vice president for 2 years. I now bear the distinction of the first female elected president of the CIC in the 70 years of the Chamber's existence. However, my climb up the ladder at the CIC was mostly really due to the encouragement and support of the cheering on of the men in my life. And I grew up in a family with 4 brothers and 3 sisters and 4 brothers. I lived the better part of my life in the home with my brothers, so I related really well to men, and I still do. And I believe that that's why I was able to sit, and I'm able to sit in the position where I am, because we have to be realistic and honest here. If the men are not on our side, and if we do not have the support of men, we are not going to make it in this world where women need to be in leadership positions. And I don't mean that we don't have our own merit to sit on, but we do need them to welcome us in. And so within the chamber, many of you know historically that the chamber was always very much a male-dominated organization. However, my father dragged me to many meetings, lunches, chamber events. My mother was never keen on going. I was often his companion. He would insist I stand and ask questions, even if I was nervous. I was young, I wasn't sure. He said, people are too quiet, they're too scared to ask questions. You stand up, and he would dig me with a pen in my side. So much so I started to take a notepad and a pen to the lunches because I knew I'd be expected to stand. And so I started to get very bold, and I would ask questions that no one else wanted to ask, or something that people thought was controversial or would create some chatter. But my father loved that. He loved getting people thinking and speaking out and being honest. And so hence, many years later, I joined back. I became board member in 2007 when I first opened my business. And quickly, my father said to me, focus on building your business. Remove yourself. Your business needs you. So I served my 2 years, 2007 to 2009. I served my 2 years and focused on building my business, Harper's Office Depot. And many years later, when I was asked to join again, I felt I was in a position at that point and that I could spare the time, because it is a long commitment and sacrifice in many ways. And so I have to thank today many other male figures in the chamber for allowing me the opportunity to, and the encouragement to push me to the point of being here today. And that is Michael Moulton, I have to say, Jose Rosa, and our recent past president, Farron Lawrence, who told me he was not taking the position unless I was his vice president. And so I would like to just leave you with this and say, regardless of your background, your upbringing, or your circumstances, what we do know is very clear, that every girl and every woman has the potential to make the world a better place. And that potential lies in the act of thinking higher thoughts and feeling deeper things. When women and girls everywhere begin to see themselves as more than inanimate objects, but as beautiful beings capable of deep feelings and higher thoughts, this has the capacity to change the world all around. The kind of change that is for the better. Remember, high in the head and deep in the heart. Antlers on your mind and anchors in your heart. That is by C. Joy Bell. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Mrs. Matthews. We're now going to hear from...
You are listening to WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. We are continuing to pay tribute to our women. That was the president of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce here in St Kitts and Nevis, Miss Giselle Matthews. We'll take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors, and when we return, we'll continue our program for today. Stay tuned.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WINN FM.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
You need a drink, have a Viva, Viva. You want some fun? Get a Viva, Viva. Taste the flavor, have a Viva, Viva. Oh yeah, Viva is the one. Say goodbye to boring. Let me hear you sing. Got to have my Viva, water but so much better.
Viva sparkling flavored water. Water, but better.
Welcome back to Voices here on WINN FM 98.9. We are continuing our coverage of celebrating our women here in the Federation. And I just wanted to touch base here on an article, a piece I found on a website called Equality Matters. Why do we still distrust women leaders? That is the question that has been asked. Now, despite strides, in women's representation in powerful roles, a surprising number of people across the world still don't trust women to lead and to lead effectively. And these biases are deep-seated and may be difficult to change. Now, in November of 2020, Maya Sandu reached a milestone by becoming Moldova's first woman president. Following years of sexist attacks from men and women alike, it was a major victory for Sandu and women around the world who are increasingly reaching positions of power. The same month, the American people elected Kamala Harris, the U.S. Vice President, and she became the highest-ranking woman in the U.S. history. Now, while women are receiving votes from the electorate, why are they not also receiving votes of confidence? If we look around us here in the region, here in St Kitts and Nevis, internationally, women have played and continue to play a very significant role in the development of our church and school, education, health, the financial services, sports, you name it. Women have been in leadership roles. I saw a post this morning which suggested that people are saying women are not being given the opportunity to lead, but they provided some facts and figures showing that women in St. Kitts and Nevis are given the opportunity. I don't think it is a matter where we're saying women are not given the opportunity to lead, because we have a number of females who are in leadership roles, but it is the pushback that they receive when they get into that position. It is the fight down that they get. Oh, I don't think you should be in that position. And I think you're weak simply because they are females. But we have to appreciate our females. We have to understand that they have made and they continue to make strides. They continue to make strides. But it is amazing because you would hear this pushback and this fight down from men and women alike. And sometimes, you have to scratch your head and you wonder, why would another woman not support females in leadership role? Now, it says only 38% of people in Japan were comfortable with the idea of a female head of government or a female CEO of a major company or business. And in both Nigeria and Kenya, the scores out of 100 were 62 for government and 56 for politics, the average G7 score for government and politics was higher, holding fairly steady over the last 3 years at 78. But this is still far from a score of 100, which would indicate that women and men are seen as equally suitable for leadership roles. Imagine. But the argument that is being pushed is that even though women are in that leadership position, the level of, let me just say, pushback and fight down that they receive sometimes from their own, on most occasions from their own, is unbelievable. I would want to encourage the women who are listening today that not because you're a woman, not because you're a woman, that doesn't mean you can't lead. And you have to get rid of that notion that women cannot and should not lead. Women cannot and should not be in a position to make a change. Men have been there. They did their part. They played their role. At the same time, we're not trying to overshadow or discredit the work the men did. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge the work our women have been doing. We're continuing, and we'll now hear a clip from the Chief Executive Officer of the cable, Miss Patricia Walters, and she will share her experience about being a female and in such a leadership position. This is Patricia Walters, the CEO of the cable. Have a listen.
My introduction is going to touch on my journey and my current leadership purpose. I'll start by saying, for me, leadership was by choice and not by chance. And I'm going to take you back to my 28th birthday. I didn't know it then, but it would be a critical crossroad in my professional life. I had just landed my dream job. I was a fully qualified accountant. I had landed a job in London, in the UK, in the city, for a big shipping firm. And I walked in, and I had shaken off all of the prejudice and the interviews that had me blocked as soon as I walked through the door because of the colour of my skin, and landed this great job. And my new manager came to me and she said, Patricia, we're so pleased to have you. We're so pleased that you're joining the team. And I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm in London in the big firm. She said, because, Jane, who was here before, she was black, and she used to get on the desk and she used to dance for us and tell us jokes and make us laugh. And I went, what? You're pleased that I've come here to entertain you? I said, I'm sorry, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to take on a role in the organisation that's a valuable role. I went home that night. It was my 28th birthday, and one of my friends who wasn't working at the time decided that he couldn't really afford to buy me a present, but he would make me a wall hanging, a picture frame to hang on the wall. And in it, he cut out a picture of Rosa Parks right on the front at the top, sitting in the back of the bus. And then he had typed up this saying that said, women constitute half of the world's population, perform nearly 2/3 of its work hours, receive 1/10 of the world's income, and own less than 1/100th of the world's property. And he said, but all of that is gradually changing thanks to women like you. Happy birthday. That was my crossroad. From that day forward, I chose not to be a token, not to be thought of any less or inferior to anybody else. I chose to progress on my own merits, to be the best in my profession, to support others, to achieve their full potential, and not to step on or pull others down for me to look good. I chose to be motivated, not manipulated, to be useful, not used, to deliver results and not excuses, to self-excel and not unscrupulously compete, and to listen to my inner voice, not the random opinion of others. Simply to be the best me. Excellence is never an accident. It's always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And that's a quote from Aristotle. I truly believe that everyone is destined for greatness. But you really have to believe it. You have to imagine it. You have to visualize it. And you have to work at it. You know, I do not believe that you should just be entitled because of your background, because of who you know, because of your tenure. You need to earn it. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for welfare, not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." And that's to all of us. Your purpose is your purpose. Your purpose could be a great teacher, a mother, a coach, a world champion, a cook, a hairstylist, a barber, a seamstress, a model, a pastor, a CEO, a prime minister. Whatever it is, do it with passion, do it with excellence. My leadership purpose at this season in my life is to use my experience, skills and passion to support the digital transformation of our great federation. Access to technology is unfortunately one of the great dividers left in the world. And we together, all together, the government, the other internet providers, the Ministry of ICT, we're all determined to leave no citizen behind in our quest of digital transformation. I will use my position and my influence to provide affordable, available, accessible internet to every resident and citizen of St Kitts. It's not an easy journey, but these things rarely are. The pandemic has triggered a seismic increase on internet reliability and customer expectations. To remain relevant, we have to make significant investment in our infrastructure, our people, our service and our systems. But I've started, and we as a federation have started, and the destination is in sight. And the truth is that while talent may be evenly distributed, sadly, opportunity is not. And we want to provide digital opportunities to the ordinary man, to the young, to the unemployed, to the single parent. We want to enrich lives through enabling access to technology and see our talent build products that can leapfrog existing goods and services and build the next revolutionary software. We have the talent, we just have to nurture and enable it. So digitalization is my leadership passion right now. It's an all-of-society approach, and together with the other internet providers, the government, the Ministry of ICT, the app and website developers, the electronic banking and e-commerce institutions, together I have no doubt that we will successfully enable this transformation, where our people will always be connected from the time they leave home until they return. I really am excited about the many possibilities that lie ahead, and I look forward to the day that our citizens and our residents will not be judged by the square miles of this small nation, the small population size, a perception of limited access to the digital world, but will be recognized and applauded as leaders in the digital age. Thank you.
That was Miss Patricia Walters of the cable. Now we sent out a message to some of our listeners, to the public, and we asked them to send us some names and area of contribution of who they think have played a very meaningful and important role in the development of our nation in the area of health, sports, education, culture, religion, which is the church, and financial services. And we have received some feedback. being recognized, we have Mrs. Mavis Huggins in the area of religion, in particular services to the Grace Gospel Hall and Child Evangelism Fellowship. We also have Mrs. Joel Wilkins, religion in the area of services to Child Evangelism Fellowship. She is also the current National Director of the Child Evangelism Fellowship in St Kitts and Nevis. Mrs. Janet Harris for Financial Services. She served as the Financial Secretary and is now the current CEO of the St. Kitts Cooperative Credit Union. And Mrs. Idris Fidela Haynes, Financial Services. She's the current General Manager for Corporate Services at the Republic Bank. On behalf of WINN FM, I would want to say thank you to Mrs. Mavis Huggins, Mrs. Joel Wilkins, Mrs. Janet Harris, and Mrs. Haynes for your contribution to financial services and religion. The work you have done and the work that you continue to do will not be forgotten. Thank you so much. We also received Dr. Hazel Laws for her work in the management of the pandemic, as well as Shirlene Archibald in the area of education. Also, we have Edna Dolores Tyrrell, a former head teacher of the Middle Island Primary School. She taught music with just a tuning fork. She also taught English and maths. She stressed the importance of education, no matter the desired profession, and was way ahead when she said back in the 60s that machine will replace humans. The person said, I can remember walking home from school when we made fun of her and even called her crazy. But her words came to be true. Her name was used to name the Terrell Williams Primary School in Old Road, a true Federation hero. Thank you so much, Edna Dolores Tyrrell, for your contribution to nation building in the area of education. You are listening to WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. We are paying tribute and showing respect and recognizing the work our women have done here in the Federation. We will now open the phone lines to hear from you, our listeners. Remember, we have our WhatsApp number, which is 662-2204. You can also call us at 466-0989-762 and 662 to be a part of the discussion today. Call and give a shout out to your mother, your sister, your auntie, some female you know in a leadership position that have made a very significant impact on the in our community. If we look here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have a number of females that have ascended to leadership positions and that have been doing remarkable things and that have been in leadership roles. And we would want to thank them for their contribution, because sometimes they get the position and they're not recognized. They are not recognized for the work they have done. We want to thank people like Constance Mitchum, who was a politician here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and she was the first woman elected to the National Assembly. And she was also the first woman to serve as acting Prime Minister for St. Kitts and Nevis. Constance Mitchum, thank you so much for your contribution. We want to say thank you as well to Miss Marcella Liebert, a former politician who was trained as a teacher and then as a barrister and solicitor. And Miss Liebert was the first woman to serve as Speaker of the National Assembly for St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you so much for your contribution, Miss Marcella Liebert. I would want to say thank you to Dr. Hazel Laws for her work in assisting with the management of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also to all our female nurses. They are the ones who are on the front line. They are the ones who are out there with these COVID patients, and they are the ones that are really in the forefront of what is happening. Thank you so much for taking that risk to keep the Federation safe, because you have families, you have your households to maintain, but every day you get up and you go out to make sure that you do your work and play your part in keeping us safe. Thank you to the teachers, our female teachers. If you look in the teaching profession, there are a number of females, and there are some of them who are very passionate about teaching. There are some of them who have made a very significant contribution to the development of our children, and we would want to thank them for their contribution they have made and continue to make. Our women have done a tremendous job, and it is only fair that we recognize them for the role that they have played and continue to play. If you're looking at the females who have ascended to leadership positions and other females, we have here in St Kitts, Mrs. Akila Byron Nisbet. She won the constituency number 3 here in St Kitts in the June 5th, 2020 elections. So congratulations to Mrs. Akila Byron Nisbet for such, in my opinion, a remarkable achievement. Also to Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, the first woman to be elected national leader of a political party here in St Kitts and Nevis. Also to Mrs. the Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons, first female to be elected for the NRP over there in Nevis, and also to the late Honorable Berlin Clark. Miss Clark was the first female to be elected to the Nevis Island Assembly, and she served as the Minister of Youth, Women and Social Affairs from 1987 to 1992. Thank you so much, Miss Clark, for your contribution. She has passed on, so to her family, thank you so much for lending her to us, and we thank her for her contribution and the work she did in the lives of our people on Nevis. So she served in government from 1987 to 1992, and she held the portfolios of Minister of Youth, Women and Social Affairs. We want to say thank you to Mrs. Marjorie Morton. She served as the the President of the Nevis Island Assembly, as well as Mrs. Christine Springett, who also served as the President of the Nevis Island Assembly. And for a short stint, Mrs. Morton served as the Deputy Governor General. Today, the Deputy Governor General is Mrs. Hailita Liebert. And so we have a number of females who are in these serious leadership positions. And they're not just there for being their sake. They're there and they're making a change. From the teacher, the preschool teacher, right up to the politician. Right up to the politician. I want to say thank you. Thank you for your work. And as we continue to celebrate International Women's Day or International Women's Month, let us show appreciation. At the same time, we don't want to, or there should not be an attempt to discredit the work of our men, because men too have played a very significant role in nation building. But right now it's time for the women to shine, and right now we're showing appreciation to them. Later this year, we will be celebrating International Men's Day in November, and so I do hope that when that day comes, we are able to appreciate our men and dedicate our time to showing appreciation to our men. I would want to say thank you to the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs, in particular the Gender Affairs Department over there on Nevis, because in 2019 I received an award from them for my contribution as a young person in the area of for being involved in youth parliamentarian, for performing arts, and I received an award recognized as an outstanding male figure here in St Kitts and Nevis. So thank you so much to the Department of Gender Affairs over there on Nevis. You are listening to WINN FM's Voices on 98.9. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. If we have no calls at this time, we'll take a short break to say thank you to our sponsors, and when we return, we will begin wrapping up our program. We are just 15 minutes away from the end time, as we'll take a break at 12 for the midday news, and when we return, we will continue our second half of the program. I'm your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. Thank you so much for being a part of our program. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
For an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 WINN FM.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices. Let's take our first call. Good morning, caller. You are live. Caller, good morning. You're live on Voices. We seem to have lost that call. Caller, you can call us back at 466-0989, 762 and 662. Remember, we also have a WhatsApp number where you can send us a text. The caller is back. Good morning, caller. You are live on Voices. Hello, good morning. You're live on Voices.
Oh, good morning, Devonne.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm here giving God thanks for another day. And it will be a miss of me not to speak up for women. And women in leadership position. It didn't come easy, you know.
No, it did not.
No, I recall in the early 80s, I was on what was called the Interministerial Council for the Ministry of Women Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
We had to lobby. I mean, and even some of the male politicians wanted to know what women want.
Mm-hmm.
We were challenging the system to the chamber, to the different departments, as to why women were not being allowed to pass. Qualified women, some of them were actually running the agencies, running even in companies. But there was always somebody ahead of them. And you mentioned Concy Mitchum. She has done more for women's rights. The whole gender issue.
Yes.
Along with it was CARICOM and UNIFEM. I don't know about UNIFEM. It's a UN agency concerned about
yes.
And then Anne Liebert, Junior Liebert mother, she was part of the CARIWA. But it was a struggle. And you ask a question as to why do some women still not give support to other women in leadership?
Mm-hmm.
There are two reasons. One is ignorance, eh?
There is no concrete answer that anybody could give. I'm sorry.
No, it's ignorance. Because you see, if you don't see yourself as being capable, then you don't think anybody is capable.
That's what I'm saying. And why would you say that women are not capable to lead if you are a woman? For me, I can't understand that.
Listen to me. I have been in leadership position from the word go. Teaching at the planning unit. I was often one of the few female statisticians. Sometimes people didn't even believe me because, you think maths a man. I mean, I was a maths teacher. People still think that, all of them numbers and how you could deal with numbers and computers. I remember I went overseas on a course, and this gentleman keep putting his hand on the keyboard and tell him, the next time you put your hand there, I'm going to give you one lick on it. Mm-hmm. All the men, he would give the instructions, and the men would, talking about statisticians, and coming down on my thing and trying to show me keys. When at home I am working on a computer. But it is this, you see, people have swallowed the pill that somehow women are inferior to men.
And Miss Henry, if I may add, it is a notion that we have in our mind. Yes, women are have been in leadership roles, and some would say, let's just put them there. But when they get to the position, as I said before, the amount of fight down.
Even now, because look, even you put qualifications plus experience. Because I can tell you in many agencies, corporations, the woman doing the work,
But that's what I'm telling you. If for example, if you look in St. Vincent, if you look at St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you have all the ministers of government who are males. And if you look at the government departments and ministries, they are run and headed by females. And the work is being done. And you and I are well aware that it is not so much the minister who does all the work, but the department head or the permanent secretary. So why would we want to...
A country can run without some politicians.
Precisely.
Try the technicians and so who actually do the work and whatnot. Even sometimes design the policies. So, we lack confidence and we don't like ourselves. I recall, I don't know, when I went to work at the planning unit, I went to teachers' college. I am a trained teacher in 1972. Then I have an economics degree. Straight economics, not mix up, an honors degree. And I go into work. And the first thing I bounce upon was another female. She's my friend now, eh? So nothing intended. And my position after the chief is me. And this other female is trying to subjugate me, put me below her. Mm-hmm. I had to get a hierarchy chart and get it stuck up. You understand? So sometimes rather than giving support, some of them put all kind of obstacle in the way of the female. Unless you're a strong person like me, and stand up and say, honey, after him is me, after me is you. You understand? And you let the other females in the thing. When I did not have to lie down for this, as you say, I didn't have to lie down for this position. Mm-hmm. And you perform, because you got to be competent. You see where sometimes some women fail. You're in a position, qualify yourself, make yourself competent.
Yeah, I agree.
Because competence you can't beat. And I want to encourage women, see yourself differently. I have never saw myself as being less than a man. Never. And I've taught my children and grandchildren the same thing. Because a country can't develop with men alone. It cannot.
And you know, if I may
these
add...
political parties, while I'm at it, the political parties have got to do better. They're talking, you know. There are women out there who could do 10 times better than some of the male ministers they have. But are they given the chance? Some say yes. But the truth is, the answer is no. No, you left out the nurse Jean. Wasn't she a minister or something?
Yes. Nurse Jean Harris. She was also a minister in Nevis. I think she was the first for the CCM as well.
Yeah,
yes, thank you so much for that.
Anyway,
thank you so
all the
much for
best.
that. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to all the women in leadership position. It's never too late to commend you.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your contribution. We are winding down. We're a few minutes away from the 12 o'clock end time. And as we're talking about this, I remember coming across a post on social media which suggests that where you have a bunch of women, it is confusion. And I had to scratch my head because is it that they're saying, well, before I get to that, you're saying that where you have a lot of women, it will be confusion. There is always confusion. But look around us. Look at our banks. Look at our schools. They thrive. They thrive. So what is the argument really? You're suggesting that if women are there, there will be confusion, nothing will be done because women are not productive and women cannot lead. But look at our institutions. Women have played and continue to play a very pivotal role in the advancement of health, education, sports, culture, you name it. But I believe it is a pill that, as Ms. Henry said, that they force it down your throat and they want to come again and force it right back down your throat. That because you are a female, you should not lead. If you're a female and you're listening, stand up. The theme for International Women's Day is choose to challenge. Choose to challenge those who believe that you are not worthy of being given that opportunity to make a change and to make a difference. Choose to challenge the norms that exist, that women should always be at the end. Choose to challenge that. Stand up, rise up, and continue to make a change. There are some men that would say, oh, we're trying to push women here and push women there. No. Men have been there. Men have been given the opportunity. And of course, we're not trying to discredit the work of the men. But for God's sake, if men can do it, why can't women do it? Why can't women do it? But there are also some women who would say, oh, I support women in leadership and I think women should do this. But at the same time, they got the length and breadth to bring down women. Stop it. If you're listening or talking to you, you must uplift each other. Build up each other. You are listening to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you to those who were able to touch base with us on our WhatsApp at 662-2204. And thank you for those of you who sent us emails with the names of those women who have made a contribution in the different areas of financial services and religion. Without your participation, I don't know if our show would have been possible. So again, thank you so much for your kind cooperation and participation. Thank you to all of you who joined us via Facebook. Stay tuned. We'll take a break at 12 and we will return at 12:30 to have our second half of this program. To those of you listening at home and abroad, thank you so much. If you're working, whatever you're doing, take your time. Give thanks for life. Remember, continue to play your part in keeping St Kitts and Nevis safe as we continue to celebrate our Women Let us love them, show respect to them, and understand that they too should be at the decision table. They too should be able to make a change. They too should be able to say, look, I think it should be done that way. Let's take a break. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
When they start them there, we are top man, we take charge. Have no drink, we are shell down bars. Blast like a star with some Galapagos. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We are hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man them. Wine with the styling, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine for the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
You found the sound. 98.9 WINN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Devonne Cornelius.
Making the headlines, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line announced the suspension of sailings for its global fleet through March 31st. The Caribbean Court of Justice ruled that there are sufficient grounds for the Magistrate Court in Dominica to hear arguments in the 2014 treating case filed against the Dominica Labour Party after the general elections. Antigua and Barbuda's Minister of Information Broadcasting, Telecommunications and Information Technology, Melford Nicholas, outlines plans for digital transformation. In Barbados, the government is expected to set up a new anti-corruption agency. Internationally, journalist and television presenter Piers Morgan left his high-profile breakfast slot with the broadcaster ITV after his long-running criticism of Prince Harry's wife, Meghan, reached a crescendo over the couple's interview with Oprah Winfrey. Now, the details.
Two brand new 30-seater Toyota Coaster buses have been donated to the Ministry of Education in the Nevis Island Administration NIA, courtesy of the WINN Song Foundation. The buses that will be designated as school buses came at a cost of $370,000 EC and were handed over to the NIA's Junior Minister of Education, the Honorable Troy Liburd, at a ceremony on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. I was very happy today, March 9th, to take delivery of two brand new 30-seater Toyota Coaster buses to be used as school buses here on Nevis. Many thanks to the WINN Song Foundation, who donated the funds for the purchase. Indeed, a very significant contribution, much appreciated, the Education Minister said. The buses were provided by the Automotive Division of the Trading Development Company, TDC. Also present at the handing over ceremony were senior cabinet members of the NIA, Kevin Barrett, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Principal Education Officer Zanella Claxton, education officials, and the principal of the secondary schools on the island. In 2016, the WINN Song Foundation donated two buses, now bringing the total to 4, with an additional 2 expected later this year. The WINN Song Foundation in Nevis is managed by the WINN Song Trust, a California-based charitable organization established under the will of American philanthropist Martin Crowley, who died in Anguilla in 2003. He left his entire multi-million-dollar estate to the American charitable organization WINN Song Trust, which provides educational assistance to underprivileged children in third world countries.
Eyewitness News in the Bahamas is reporting that Royal Caribbean Cruise Line Tuesday, March 9th, announced the suspension of sailings for its global fleet through March 31st. In its latest update, Royal Caribbean noted, "We have decided to extend the suspension of sailings for our global fleet through March 31st, 2020, excluding sailings on board Quantum, Spectrum, Voyager, and Odyssey of the Seas. Quantum of the Seas is expected to remain in the Asia-Pacific region. The Odyssey of the Seas has seen her May 9th to October 28th, 2021 sailings departing from Rome, Italy cancelled, and instead will begin its inaugural season out of a new home port, Haifa, Israel, from June to October 2021. The cruise line noted, "We don't have enough information from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to know when we will be able to resume operations." The Caribbean Court of Justice ruled Tuesday, March 9th, that there are sufficient grounds for the Magistrate Court in Dominica to hear arguments in the 2014 treating case filed against the Dominica Labour Party after general elections in that country. The DLP won 15-16 against the United Workers' Party in that election. Dominicans Mervyn John Baptiste, Antoine Defoe, and Endicott St. Valais filed complaints against all 15 elected candidates of the Dominica Labour Party after that election, claiming they were involved in treating leading up to the election. The complaints cited 2 concerts put on by the DLP featuring international acts Donnie McClurkin and Morgan Heritage as acts of treating meant to corruptly influence the outcome of the election.
This case concerns a fundamental principle, which is the rule of law, and also it concerns the idea of equality before the law. What we have always argued is that no man is above the law, whether it is the Prime Minister or whether it is, any other person, as long as you have committed or you are accused of committing a criminal offense. If you are summoned to attend court, you must attend court like every other person. So we have always been very confident in our case, in the fundamental principle of equality before the law, and the Caribbean Court of Justice agreed with us.
You've stated also that this is a major victory for your client and for Dominica on a whole. This would have been among your top cases that you've won. How do you feel, taking on, say, Mr. Astafan? A lot of people say, well, Mr. Astafan, quote unquote, well, is the top lawyer. Yes, he is, but you were very confident all along.
Yes, I was confident. I feel encouraged to take on other cases because in Dominica, currently, there are many things that should be challenged. And I wish that this case would serve as an encouragement to other lawyers, to other civic-minded citizens to stand up for what is right, stand up for what is just, and to do the right thing. I wish that persons would be encouraged that there is a justice system that they can turn to. I hope that the justice system, the judiciary, would be encouraged as well, because this is essentially the Caribbean Court of Justice saying that the judiciary must treat everybody equally, and that you cannot treat someone differently because he or she is a parliamentarian. We live in a society where there's a lot of focus on politics, and parliamentarians are seen to be as very powerful persons. But at the end of the day, these individuals are simply persons elected by the people to lead and to do a job. They are not above the law. So I think that this is an extremely important judgment for Dominica.
Antigua and Barbuda's Minister of Information Broadcasting, Telecommunications and Information Technology, Melford Nicholas, outlines plans for digital transformation. ABS has the report.
The future is here. Mankind is on the cusp of the most transformative epoch in its history, the fourth industrial revolution. It promises to transform our societies with the use of amazing technologies, and Minister Nicholas is at the forefront of the efforts to ensure Antigua and Barbuda is not left behind. The government is leading on this by improving the way citizens and residents interface with it.
What we're trying to do is to ensure that all of the services, whether it is for application for an extension of your time at immigration, for an application for a work permit, or for a renewal of a passport or a driver's license to get a birth record, whatever request is made of the government, we are going to ensure this year that those services are available to the citizens and residents online.
Now, this is being done under the umbrella of Project Optimus from the popular television series The Transformers, a fitting motif for the transformation being promised.
The Citizens Portal, when it is finished, will allow some of the information that they would normally collect in the line to be able to be done online, and so that the processing starts even before you move from your mobile device. What gets presented then to the officers within the ministry or the agency of the government is a case file.
A major part of the foundation for this digital transformation is how records are kept and produced, and that's where the civil registry comes in. Every stage of a citizen's life, from the cradle to the grave, is captured here, making the government the best-suited institution to lead on this digital identity.
It's a phase project, so we're starting with phase 1, which is just going to be dealing with the birth registry. Okay. But later on, we will add the marriage registry, deed polls, those are the aspects to the civil registry. It will be done over a period of months.
Minister Nicholas says, in addition, a citizens portal is also to be launched. The minister says none of this will be forced on residents. It will all be optional, thereby avoiding the pitfalls suffered by other governments accused of Orwellian overreach into citizens' privacy. And regarding data protection, paramount, according to the minister.
In Barbados, the government is expected to set up a new anti-corruption agency. Barbados Today has the story.
Government today made moves to set up a new agency to investigate corruption and terrorism matters in Barbados. Attorney General Dale Marshall tabled the Anti-Corruption and Anti-Terrorism Agency Bill 2020 that will give rise to the Anti-Corruption and Anti-Terrorism Agency.
What we are looking to set up is a standalone, dedicated agency that investigates corruption and terrorism issues. Now, again, I say that these are issues that are currently within the purview of the Royal Barbados Police Force. And sir, it is not the intention of this agency to remove those things from the Royal Barbados Police Force at all. In fact, it is anticipated that in many areas, this agency will work very closely with all of our existing institutions. So that this bill talks about working with strategic partners.
Opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley supports the new agency, and he urged government to ensure that the new legislation upholds the integrity of the island's democratic institutions.
Democracy is about the effective and proper, wholesome functioning of institutions. And if that is not in place, and if that is not a practice which comes normally, most people lose a sense of confidence in those institutions. When those institutions are no longer credible, then our system goes awry, our culture is in trouble, our people suffer, country declines.
We now bring you these international reports.
Piers Morgan has quit his primetime breakfast show on ITV after facing criticism for his comments about the Duchess of Sussex. The British journalist and presenter accused Meghan of lying during her interview with Oprah Winfrey, saying that he did not, quote, believe a word she said. In Sunday's bombshell interview, Meghan accused the royal family of pushing her to the brink of suicide. She also alleged that someone in the royal household had raised questions about the colour of her son's skin. In a series of tweets, Morgan dubbed Meghan Pinocchio Princess and accused the royal couple of betraying the Queen. Morgan's comments on his show triggered more than 41,000 complaints to Britain's media regulator Ofcom, which announced an investigation under its harm and offence rules. Carolyn McCall, the ITV chief executive, pointedly declined to back the presenter, saying that she believed the Duchess completely. In a terse statement released on Tuesday, the broadcaster confirmed Morgan's departure. Morgan joined ITV 6 years ago and brought with him his no-holds-barred interview technique. Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah has sent shockwaves through the British monarchy, with questions now being raised about its future.
Jerusalem's Catholic Patriarch leads a Lent procession down the ancient steps to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Normally the priests would process through throngs of tourists and pilgrims, but now the square, like the church behind, stands all but empty. First dedicated as a church by Constantine in the 4th century, on the site where Jesus is believed to have been crucified and buried, it's shared by 4 Christian denominations and draws hundreds of thousands of visitors a year.
Actually sad situation that they're not here, I hope the corona will be gone away, at least minimize its effect to the population, and they will start coming visiting the holy places as usual, as they did before.
Between 2016 and 2018, more than half of all foreign tourists to occupied East Jerusalem came here, the old city's most visited site. Now, in the run-up to Easter, its giant doors are officially open again, but Israel's main airport is still partially closed. Only handfuls of specially permitted foreign nationals are allowed in, a far cry from the more than 1 million Christian tourists who would enter in a normal year.
Living in Jerusalem, this is a place I've been to pretty frequently, and when it's full of devoted pilgrims from around the world, it has a real emotional power. But on a day like this, when it's all but empty, in some ways the ancient nature and beauty of this place are more fully revealed.
Those who are here now, we found a mix of foreign workers, academics and locals, have the place almost to themselves. No competing for snatched moments in revered spaces. Details that might have been lost amid camera clicks and excited shouts now gleam quietly, undisturbed. But this period of quiet comes at a cost, in the form of missing religious donations and struggling shops in the alleyways outside. Merchants say 95% of their business has simply disappeared. Adib Jude's family has held the keys to the church for nearly 1,000 years. Even in that context, he says, these last 12 months have been extraordinary.
It's been a year that we're suffering, and the old city is the most affected. And within the old city is the tourist-reliant businesses and places of worship.
There is shared hope among priests and shopkeepers that the talk of a vaccine-driven return to international travel will indeed soon materialise, and this place will once again welcome the world back through its doors. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, occupied East Jerusalem.
It's been a year since the first COVID-19 infection was identified in South Africa. Since then, more than 50,000 people have died here and 1.5 million have been infected. While richer nations roll out vaccines, the program in South Africa has been much slower.
No person, no country, and no region must be left behind. Another important step is to enable the transfer of medical technology for the duration of the pandemic. This will allow us to increase the production of COVID-19 vaccines and other medical products.
South Africa and India are leading a movement to suspend the World Trade Organization's agreement on intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccines. But many high-income countries, including the United States and those in the European Union, have rejected the idea. They say waiving the patents would put off private investors and slow down scientific innovation. And existing regulations allow drug manufacturers to make their own deals with generic manufacturers. While some developing nations like Ghana, Ivory Coast and Lesotho have begun receiving their first doses through the UN-backed vaccine sharing scheme known as COVAX, many others in Africa are being left behind.
There is the capacity for pharmaceutical companies to produce these life-saving medical tools. It is essential that the wealthy states stop blocking or putting in legal barriers and delaying this essential proposal ahead of the TRIPS Council at the World Trade Organization.
According to the United Nations, 3/4 of all COVID-19 vaccines have been secured by just 10 countries, all of them wealthy. 130 countries, that's about 2.5 billion people, have not received a single dose. This is not the first public health emergency that South Africa is facing. It has one of the highest HIV/AIDS rates in the world. In the 1990s, millions of people in this country and other developing nations died without access to the drugs they needed, simply because they were too expensive. South Africa is once again calling for access to cheaper drugs to save lives, with some arguing that despite COVID-19 vaccines being tested in Africa, many nations on the continent still remain at the back of the queue. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.
You were listening to the WINN FM headline news on 98.9. Our top stories were: Royal Caribbean Cruise Line announced the suspension of sailings for its global fleet through March 31st. The Caribbean Court of Justice ruled that there are sufficient grounds for the Magistrate Court in Dominica to hear arguments in the 2014 treating case filed against the Dominica Labour Party after the general elections. Antigua and Barbuda's Minister of Information Broadcasting, Telecommunications and Information Technology, Melford Nicholas, outlines plans for digital transformation. In Barbados, the government is expected to set up a new anti-corruption agency. Internationally, journalist and television presenter Piers Morgan left his high-profile breakfast slot with the broadcaster ITV after his long-running criticism of Prince Harry's wife, Meghan, reached a crescendo over the couple's interview with Oprah Winfrey. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINN FM headline news. The headline news was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs. And make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
It is with deep regret that we announce the death of Burchell Montreville Crook, originally of farm site Sandy Point, but who resided at Bladen Housing Development. The sad event took place on 14th February. Burchell leaves to mourn his loving wife, Gillian Woods Crook, daughters, Chanel and Giselle Crook, mother-in-law, Eileen Woods, sister, Marlene Patricia Crook and family in Florida, brothers, Ivan DeGrasse and Roy Nisbet and their families in New York, Emmanuel Nisbet and family in Atlanta, Anthony Crook and family in Florida, Warrington Tyson Sr. and Lenford Crook and their families in St. Thomas. Many nieces and nephews at home and abroad, including nieces Kahita Crook, Shermel Freeman in St. Kitts, Tiffany Tyson and Wanda Clement in St. Thomas, Malika and Monica Nisbet in Atlanta, and Sharon Nisbet in Florida. Nephews Warrington Tyson Jr., Kevin Curtis, Keyshawn of Florida, Phil Nisbet, Shafil Nisbet, Dario Lennon, Almond Crook, Mavinga Smith in St. Kitts, Marvel Nisbet in Atlanta, Uncle Samuel Nisbet and family in Birmingham, England, godchildren Jaquan Lewis and Malik Morgan. Many other family members and friends at home and abroad, including Beverly Lennon Benjamin and husband passed to Leroy Benjamin and the Filato and Beldota families in Sandy Point, Gloria Nisbet and family of Tabernacle, Warren Bradshaw and David Brandy and their families of Sadlers, the Bryant, Jeffers and Nisbet families, and Joel Mayrose, Stedroy Nisbet, and Dorrit Catty of Brooklyn Nevis, Pearline Lewis and family in Florida, the Rowland family, Viola Watley and family, and Carleen Woods in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Sonia Richardson in Maryland, Kathleen Clark in Puerto Rico, Lorna Meredy, Gwendolyn Herbert, Joan Dudley, Colin Herbert, Dion Masham and their families, Leroy and Wilfred Welch, Rillis Cannonier, Tessa Archibald and family, Alistair Quinlan and family, all in the USA, Derval Hazel, Lyra Gregory, Edna Hazel, Juliet Morton and their families, and Michelle Cardoza in Canada, Rovita Paria in England, Gertrude Marsham and Tessa Marsham and family in St. Martin, Lorraine Wilkin in Jamaica, Delia Hunkins in Nevis, Roberta Herbert, Wingrove Herbert, Floyd Hazel, Sharita Clark, Eugenie Johnson and their families, Cuthbert and Shermel Woods and family, Vincent Woods and family, Michael Woods, Bernard and Carmen Rollins and family, Dwight Woods and family, Miriam Woods, Kevin Woods and family, Asanath Phillip and family, Claristine Simmons and family, Cynthia Archibald and family, Heidi and Bernadette Liebert, Alicia and Ashan White, Ramona Frederick, Patricia Welch, and Sybil Welch and Paul Martin and their families, and Mr. and Mrs. Wilfred Welch, all in St. Kitts. Neighbors of Bladen Housing Development, the management and staff of Kittition Hill, the ministers and members of the Wesley Methodist Church, former co-workers at Cable and Wireless, Scantel, and the staff of Digicel, members of the St. Kitts Amateur Radio Society, the St. Kitts Golf Club, and the Track and Field Fraternity. The funeral service of the late Burchill Montreville Crook will take place on Thursday, 11th March at the Wesley Methodist Church. Viewing will be from 1 p.m. to 1:55 p.m. and the service will begin at 2 p.m. To the bereaved family, we offer our deepest sympathy.
Found the sound 98.9 WINN FM.
Horseroads Building and Nevis Centers are making lawn and garden easy. Come to Horseroads Building and Nevis Center now and get 25% off store-wide on our entire lawn and garden department. Yes! For the months of February and March, Horseroads Building Center and Nevis Center is making improving your lawn and garden easy with 25% off all garden supplies, garden equipment, garden accessories, including weed eaters, lawnmowers, and much more. Get 25% off all lawn and garden items happening now at Horseroads Building Center in St. Kitts and Nevis. Horseroads Building and Nevis Centers, making home improvement easy.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and we will start with our second segment of Voices. Let me say thank you to all of you who joined us for the first half, where we showed appreciation and recognize our women in celebration of International Women's Month or Day, and we highlighted some of the contributions that they made and continue to make. I hope you had a good lunch, and welcome back to Voices. To all of you who are listening via our social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. To those of you in the radio land, to those at home and abroad, thank you so much for joining us today for another edition of Voices. Now, I came across a press release from the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union with regards to the COVID-19 vaccine. I will now read this press release. Listen attentively and carefully. The St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union learns with shock and dismay of the practice being carried out by a growing number of employers in the Federation of mandating workers to take the vaccine that protects against the COVID-19 virus against their will. This insistence is being backed up by threats of termination, transfer, or suspension. There are other instances that have been made known to the union where a growing number of employers are making COVID-19 inoculation a prerequisite for employment or promotion within the organization. As such, job seekers are being denied positions for which they qualify, owing to new conditions that contravene the constitutional rights of these workers. The St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union joins with all social partners in endorsing the benefits that the COVID-19 vaccination offers to all workers and through them to the health of our society and economy. The union encourages workers to be part of the national move toward maximum immunization. This is an ideal we can achieve if each worker takes the vaccine. At the same time, the union desires that all workers are treated with respect at all times. We consider the reluctance of workers to take the vaccine at this time to be an indication of unawareness and wariness on the part of the worker. We contend that where worker hesitation has been identified, it needs to be addressed with protocols of adequate information and not with authoritative insistence. As an advocate of workers, the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union proposes that the adherence to all COVID protocols in the workplace, along with the use of the requisite personal protective equipment, can keep workers safe while effective ongoing education exercises are offered. Education offers greater awareness and calms the genuine fears of workers who are confronted with the important decision of taking a relatively unknown and new COVID vaccine. We ask for openness, consultation, empathy. The union desires that all workers are treated with dignity in this time of a public health crisis and at all times. We call for an immediate end to the inhumane practice of threatening workers' rights and livelihoods. We invite workers in all sectors to report all incidences of workplace threats. The union is committed to robustly represent your cause for decency in the workplace. I want to entertain your feedback, the listening audience, on this press release from the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union with regards to claims that employers in the Federation are mandating that workers must take the vaccine in order to be in the organization. So we'll entertain your phone calls to hear your view as to how you feel, your stance on this very important and ticklish matter. We would want to hear how you feel about this. Some would take it seriously, some would encourage it, some would not approve this. And so we want to hear how you feel about that. Let us take this call. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Yes, good afternoon, Devonne.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to all. Good afternoon to all the listeners at home and abroad. That, what you call it, notice or whatever, from the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because there are ways where you cannot force anybody. But bear in mind that most, if not all, of these hotels are quarantine sites. So let's start there. It is in your own interest if you are working in a quarantine site, because that's what they are, you know. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
They're not just accepting regular guests. Most, if not all of them, are quarantine sites. Therefore, it is in your best interest as a worker to protect yourself. So start there. Nobody should have to beg you. You must know the risk. Because some of the hotel guests want you to come into the room and do whatever you have to, and they're in there.
But I have a question, just not to cut you off, just before you continue. You made reference to hotels in the Federation that are quarantine sites, which some are indeed.
I think
are you suggesting that hotels are doing such? Are mandating that they no? Are you suggesting that hotels are mandating their workers to take the vaccine?
Well, the same language the union used. They say they're here.
Yeah, but they did not specify. They did not specify whether it was a hotel or a bank or whatever. So I'm asking you, considering that you made a reference to hotels being quarantine sites, I'm asking you if you're suggesting that it is hotels, or you know of a hotel that did so.
I am recommending that if you are working in a hotel, right? Recommending,
right?
Suggesting that if you're working in a hotel that is a quarantine site, that you get vaccinated. The company shouldn't have to ask you, force you, tell you. It is in your best interest. Now, when it comes, let's look at the general employment sector. Every company has a right to decide the rules under which they hire. Isn't that so?
Repeat that. I didn't hear the last part. Sorry.
Every company or every employer has a right to decide the terms of employment.
Right, the issue with your contract, and then you would sign whatever.
Right. So if they tell you beforehand that they're only hiring people who have been vaccinated, you can't say they're discriminating against you, because they have not hired you. Because you cannot, by any law, compel any employer to hire you.
Yes, but to interject again, question. What about those people who are already employed with a particular business and they're being asked to hold on. What about those people who are currently employed at a particular business and they are being asked to take the vaccine or else face, I don't know, suspension, termination, whatever?
Then they take the matter too, because even the Prime Minister and all have said it is not compulsory. So once you know your rights, right, you must know the risk and your rights. Because there are two things to it, eh? You're aware of it, right?
Yes.
There's the risk and your right. Now, if you reason that, look, the kind of function I have in this establishment does not bring me, say, into close contact with the public, then you have every right to say, well, I don't want it because I am not in the position, I'm not in a situation where I can be easily infected. But it come back to when you were hired, it was not part of the contract. Therefore, they just can't come and interject things. That is where it is, you know.
Right.
When you were hired, they didn't tell you you have to be vaccinated first.
Right.
So they can't make you. There, you have the Labor Department and you have legal. You could take legal action basically because it was not a part of the contract or the conditions of work under which you were hired. But new people coming in, once you accept the job under those terms, you cannot then say, well, I ain't going. You can be terminated.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you...
You would have broken the contract under which you came in.
But let me ask you a question, though. Based on the fact that it was stated by the government that the vaccine is not compulsory, do you support the action that some businesses may be taking to make it a prerequisite that you must be vaccinated in order to work for that establishment, whether it be in the public or private sector, based on the fact that the government has said that it is not compulsory?
Well, what we're dealing with is a supposition, right? We don't have any actual thing. If we had an actual case, then we could handle it. But we are saying, would you dare if that? If it is not compulsory, then the supposition becomes null. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do the thing logically, you know. If you're not compelled to take it, then nobody could make you compel. Nobody could make you take it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first thing to start with.
Right.
But then again, if you're in a job, in a situation where you're more vulnerable
to catching the virus, right?
Then nobody should even have to go ask you, because I know some people say, I ain't going away. And they write up, there's a frontline workers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that a lot of the deaths in the other countries, frontline workers going first. You're up in immigration and they hand in your card and you're going to do the test. They could call off and you see what I'm talking about?
Right.
You yourself have got to make a judgment based on your level of vulnerability. As simple as that. It is no matter, I may take none. You're not going to take none and you're more vulnerable. Then you prepare to be infected and die. It's as simple as that, you know. Whenever any decision you make must be a reasonable, or as you say, a rational one. If you know, take you for example, you're going into WINN FM. All kind of people talking to the mic. You're aware of that, right?
Yes, I am.
The mics that you all use. How often do you all clean them?
We clean them very often. Every time someone comes off the air, we would sanitize them.
Yeah, but sometimes in the excitement of the discourse, you pass the mic to so and then you pass it back. I'm not saying you do it, right? But these are high possibilities. You must know your vulnerability and deal with it. It makes no sense if you're more vulnerable to, I ain't going for none. And then you get it, you carry it home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that is my position, eh?
Right.
But the union itself, being so weak, Now, if that union was strong, it would have started making representation, you know. It would not wait until somebody gets fired. It would now begin to approach the companies or even government departments that begin to make that demand on the workers, being a union. Now, when you go in there, say, do you have any members in here? No. They don't have to listen to you. You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about?
Right, I do.
So rather than putting out that, they must begin to approach the companies that say so. They advise people to take it, eh? But you got to be more proactive. Don't wait until something happens. And again, I say, for everybody, you must know your vulnerability.
Right. Thank you so much for your input. We are still taking your calls here on Voices on WINN FM 98.9. Very interesting topic and very interesting discussion that we are having pertaining to a press release that came out from the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union claiming that some employers have mandated that workers must take the vaccine in order to be at work. We have another call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yes, and I'm blessed.
Awesome.
Greetings in the name of Jesus Christ, the only Savior of sinners, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like to say, the discussion you're having, is it just about taking the vaccine?
The discussion is about a press release that came out from the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, you were not? Were you able to tune in earlier?
No. I wasn't listening earlier.
Oh, sorry. So it's in regard to a press release that came out from the St Kitts and Nevis Trades and Labor Union claiming that some organizations, some employers rather in the Federation, are mandating that their workers should take the vaccine against their will before being a part of the organization. And they are basically being backed up by threats of termination or transfer or suspension. And the union suggests that people should take the vaccine after receiving adequate information on the vaccine rather than saying, look, take the vaccine because I said so.
Yes.
Basically. That is the discussion we're having today.
Oh, okay. Okay, well my opinion on that is that once it is a private organization, I believe, and a true private organization that is not taking government handouts or anything like that, receiving any government protectionist measures, once those things are not true of such a private organization, that means they are fully privatized, then I believe they should have the right to make what decisions they want to make.
You think...
That's one in private organization.
So you're saying that if it's a private company or organization, that they should be allowed, not trying to put anything to your mouth, but just trying to clarify what you're saying. You said they should be allowed to say that in order for you to work here or continue to work here, you must take the vaccine based on the fact that the government has said that the vaccine is not compulsory?
Yeah, once it's a private organization that is not receiving government handouts or protectionist measures, once those two things are not true of a private organization, then they should have that right to determine such decisions. They should have that right, because that means they are a private organization. For example, I should have the right to decide. Anybody, for example, even you should have the right to decide, hey, you want to come in my house? You have to be vaccinated. See, that's your private thing. So I believe where private property is concerned, everybody should have the right to make their decisions, whatever you think is best, provided, like I say, you're not receiving government handouts or government protectionist measures. Provided those things are not true of your private property or private enterprise or private company, whatever, then you should have the right to make whatever decision you want to make concerning your private whatever.
Mm-hmm. But I have a question for you, Carl, if I may ask. Some employees have said, or some employees are claiming that they are basically being forced to whether it is in the private or public, they're being forced to take the vaccine. So they're saying, look, if you don't take if you work here at a private institution, you don't take the vaccine, you will face either suspension, termination, or whatever other action they would want to take.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Do you rather than providing or conducting educational sessions with their employees about the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine? What is your take on that?
Well, like I said, provided if you are a private organization, private business, whatever, provided you are not getting government handouts or have taken government handouts, and provided you are not receiving government protectionism measures, provided those two things are not true of your private organization, I think you should have the right to determine whatever you choose to determine that you think is in the best interest of your private property, your private company, private business, whatever. So if you decide, okay, X, Y is the case with the vaccine, then I think you should have that way concerning your private organization. I think public things are a bit different. The dynamics are different with public dynamics. You are representative. You are a representative organization, but with a private thing, you are not a representative organization. You are the private thing belongs only to the owners. The private company belongs only to the owners.
But if I may add, even though private organizations belong to the owners, and you have said that they decide whatever in the best interest of the company.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should remember too the employees, because without the employees there is no company. So even if you have the general manager or the owner or the CEO, without the employees you have no company. And so you have to get the full participation or have a consultation with the employees and explain to them or have sessions on the vaccine that, look, this is the safest way to go, rather than to say that, well, this is a private company and I don't care what you think. We are private. We operate on our own. Take the vaccine and shut up.
Well, again, the company belongs to the owners only. So yes, it would be nice if they explain, have educational workshops. That would be nice. Okay, that would be nice. That would be the ideal situation, but it's not always so. And even when it isn't so, okay, if something is private, and like I said, provided they're not receiving government handouts, provided they're not receiving government protectionist measures, provided those two things are not the case, then that means you are operating on a 100% private basis. And therefore, it's the owners alone who should have the ability to make whatever decisions they think is best. Now, yes, it would be nice if they have the workshops, and that would be nice, that would be good. But if they decide not to do those things and go through those things and spend the extra money for those things, if they decide not to, then it's their private business or whatever, and they should have the right to do whatever. It should be the same thing as anybody saying you cannot be in my house unless you are first vaccinated.
But let me, not to cut you off, Carla, but let me add this though. Well, firstly, governments are responsible for running the affairs of the country. And even though, yes, we would have private companies and private organizations, I don't want to say what you did not say, but essentially you're saying that if it is a fully private organization, right, they should be allowed to do what they want?
Right.
No. I disagree. I disagree.
Why not?
Because if private companies are allowed to do what they want, then you'll have chaos. I'm not saying the government should have a hand. I'm not saying that the government should have a hand in everything that private companies do. Of course not. But private companies, fully private or whatever, should not just be able to get up and say, well, I going to do this, and I going to do that, and I don't care what the government think. I don't care what my employees think. That is my take on it.
What about that would cause chaos?
I'm not referring to the vaccines. I'm generally speaking.
No. If private companies, are allowed to do whatever they want, other than not committing things that are, well, I'm a Christian, and other than things that are not, according to the Bible, are crimes like murder, stealing, and that sort of stuff. Once they're not doing those things, okay? If I make a decision concerning my private property and my private business, provided the decision that I'm not making is not a true crime, then I should have the right to make whatever decisions I want to make with my private whatever, provided my decisions that I make, it does not involve committing a true crime.
Well, caller, but it's like this. My take. Let's say if you're a grown man or whatever living in your let's say grown man or grown woman, whoever. Speaking in general, you're 25. You are an adult. You work for yourself. You make your own money, but you live with your parents. You live under their roof. You should be allowed to do what you want in there.
If I should be allowed to do it, I'm not living under my own roof.
You hear my question? Hold on. I said you're a grown man or woman, in your 20s. You work for yourself. All of that, but you live under your parents' roof. Right. You should be allowed to do what you want because of the fact that you are over the age of 18?
No, not really.
Exactly.
Not really.
No. Is either yes or no? Not really. Is either yes or no?
No, not really. But where the house is concerned, my parents should be able to do whatever they choose to do, provided they're not committing a crime.
But it is the same as having a private company, and the private company is, yes, operating fully, but understanding the fact that governments are responsible for the affairs of a country. So not because you're a private company, you just can't come in and do as you like without anybody, understanding what you're doing. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for your input. We have a few other callers on the line, so we'll be taking your calls. We have some callers in line. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices. Okay, we're having some difficulties with that caller. We have a call. Good afternoon, caller. You're live on Voices. Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm not hearing that caller. We lost that call. We have another call. Good afternoon, caller. You're live on Voices.
Yeah, good afternoon. Now, you're working at WINN FM, right? Now, suppose you come in tomorrow morning and your boss man turn to you and ask you if you have your vaccination. You said no. He said, well, look, I'm giving you a time to go and get your vaccination. What you rather to do, quit and to take the vaccination?
It's not a matter of wanting. Wait, caller, could you turn on your radio? I'm hearing some feedback.
Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So what you're saying to me, sir?
It is not a matter of me whether wanting to continue my job because I'm being told, look, you take the vaccine or you go home. But it is what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at. Look, caller, hello. I am answering your question. Let me answer your question.
Take me word and turn them how you want to turn it. You know, all I said to you, if you come into work in the morning and your boss man asks you if you had your vaccination already, you said no. He said, well, I'll give you a chance to go and take it. He never tell you and turn you over.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Carl, just to understand fully what you're saying. You said, we're going to give you a chance to go and take it. What does that mean?
Because he wants to go by the rules of the health
What rules? They have said that the vaccine is not compulsory. So what rules? If your employer say, I'm going to give you a chance.
Vaccination is not compulsory.
Who said so? The government said so.
Yes, the government can make everybody take it, but it could make it difficult for you.
The government.
We're telling you, well, you cannot come in government headquarters. You can't go in the post office without you being vaccinated.
But caller, you're saying that what if your employer says, I'll give you a chance to go and take it. I'm asking you, what does that mean? I think it means the same as if you don't take it, don't come back here. That is the way I interpret it. I'm not saying you said that.
You got to make for yourself. But you sound kind of right.
Yeah.
You sound kind of right. But let me explain again to you. Let's go to the hotel sector. Now, here at the port and so on, everybody down here is suffering. No ships, nothing at all. The hotels and so on is not working because of the vaccination and the health thing with the people. And you want to tell me, because you're working in the hotel and you don't want to take it, you must still continue to work and put millions of people out to work? I think that's a wrong decision.
I mean, I see your point and I understand where you're coming from. But the argument, yes, sorry.
You know the amount of taxi drivers, you know the amount of small business down here at Port Zantig were closed down.
Definitely, I understand.
They ain't doing nothing. It's nothing doing.
But
taxi man, they're at home. You know, they're home. The people that say, well, they never save their money. But who could have saved money for a whole year and we ain't gonna take it out to live? You know, we just lucky we ain't got no more crimes. That is luck. So they're living off of what they got. So they're glad the vaccine come now so things can open up. And if you're going to get a couple of people who ain't here and playing politics with the vaccine, you know, the government needs to step down on it. You know, thank you anyway for the effort.
Yeah, man, thank you so much for your input. But what I am saying is that I'm not telling anybody not to take the vaccine, eh? I am not telling you not to take the vaccine. But nobody should force you. You should not show up to work tomorrow morning and your employer say you either take the vaccine or you go home. No, that is not right. At least that is my view on it. That is my view on it. But I am entertaining your calls because I appreciate the feedback. I want to hear the different views and opinions on this very ticklish topic. We have another call. Good afternoon, caller. You are live on Voices.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon. Right, yes.
Yes, I tell you and the other fellow who we did you today. Twice sounded like you. Anyway, look now, I am going to side with Rock. You know why? Because I personally believe that you're going to reach the stages where people can go to work in some institution without showing proof of vaccination. Right. Now, I have to go way back when I was a young boy growing up. There was a time when to go to school, you have to show proof of vaccination. To go to some countries, you have to show proof of vaccination. I can remember years ago when the Rastas, I'm not hitting at them, they had reached a stage that they wasn't vaccinating the child. Because whatever they were reading about the vaccination, they didn't think it was a good thing to vaccinate the child. Because I remember the days when I was young coming up, is that when some of us get vaccinated, and we were sick, some of them you can't come out to work. To school because you got fever. Mr. Cornelius, I believe, and then you can't travel. I believe that you can't travel to some countries unless you show proof of vaccination. That is where you're going to come. I believe you're going to be forced to take vaccination. But the question is now, if we open the border, everybody who walk off of that ship should show proof of vaccination. And it's going to be very, very difficult. Just like how when you come in, because we have low numbers here, I understand 41 in total. And I think the one or two that was in quarantine is already out by now. So we are doing good. Me, for one, I hine and tying with taking it. But right now, I don't see myself, since we don't have a problem, I don't mingle much. I go to the supermarket fairly early. I don't mingle much, so, and like I said, we don't have a pandemic, as you could say, here in St. Kitts, so I feel relatively safe. Until we reach to the point where, and this is my opinion, my opinion and my feeling, I wish, and I hope to God we don't reach to that point where we have we call this thing when one person goes out and infect a lot of other people. What do you call it here?
Community spread?
Community spread.
Okay.
I intend to stay on this side of caution because I do not know the effect on this. I mean, what effect that this is going to have on me. I really don't know. So I'm going to wait out as long as I possibly can. I'm not a man who like to travel. So I'm going to wait out as long as I possibly can before I accept this vaccine. And I believe, as Rock said, that you're going to reach to a point in this part. For you to work in the hotel, you're going to have proof of vaccination. But the question is, are they going to see to it that everybody who walks into that hotel has proof, has a document or what to say, I've been vaccinated? That is the problem, because we have to open this thing some point in time. There are people out there who are not working. Mm-hmm. So whether government is going to force people or whether an employer is going to say, well, no, you have to be vaccinated, and if you feel, well, look, I don't want to be vaccinated, so you're out of a job, but we're going to pick up one. So it's going to be really, really, Cornelius, it's going to be really, really hard for people to either accept or resist. It's like 666, let's say. If you don't have it, you can't shop, you can't do this, you hear that in the Bible. Maybe we're reaching to a point where if you don't want to be vaccinated, then you can't have a job. And the question is it right? I do not know. So we just have to wait and see. But Mr. Cornelius, there's so many, my email, my WhatsApp is bombarded with so much negativity, negative things about this vaccine that I am erring on this side of caution to wait it out and see exactly whether I am not working now. I'm retired. So nobody can tell me, no, you either take it or don't come to work. That's the freedom I have. But suppose you reach to the case where you have to take it or you lose a job. That's my question. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your input. And yes, a valid question. But we have to understand I understand that it will get to a point where you can't travel if you have a vaccine passport or you've been vaccinated or show proof of vaccination, and you won't be able to do certain things unless you have been vaccinated. But the argument again that is being had, should you take it because they said take it, or should you take it because you are comfortable with taking it? We have a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You're live on Voices.
Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, my buddy. Good show. Good topic. The last caller could not cream it more. He was dead on the wicket, between wicket and wicket, like Andy Roberts. If you play, you will get hit. Mr. Cornelius, the last caller made a point. You know, all these hotel owners got to make sure who coming into St Kitts come with some proof of document say they was vaccinated. They must do that. And last night, a caller posed a question to the Prime Minister, talking about when they're going to lower the 14 days. The 14 days is the short pitch for West Indies over the years. How could Mr. Prime Minister don't entertain them things, you know? You don't entertain them things. A lot of them come in need a lot of BMO because they want to make a mistake. They're looking for community spread. You're going good. You're going very good, like Kennedy and Robert Blatcher. You're going good. And don't throw the boat. Don't throw the boat over the cliff. Do not do it. You're going good. 14 days until whenever we get a green light saying everything is good and the apple. And next thing again, I want to talk about Mr. Cornelius.
President, he's got a business. And he want to come and entertain you. If you could come down here this afternoon and you see me, just as you finish the show, so I could carry you to his store. Because they have issues. And we must adherence to these people. Because the tourism department is not adherence to these people. These people is meant to make St Kitts a prime cruise destination. And nobody in the tourism seems to adherence to them. Then he will go in and keep in a little chat with them. The vaccine roll out, the CEO all over the place. How she went China, she went Koi, she went Mars. And up to now, she not come over here and go talk to the Indian. This is jam down. Culture tell me, what's no fears? Heal who heal you. Let me do this thing right.
Yeah.
Mr. Cornelius,
yes.
have a good day.
Yeah, where you say you at the Port Zante?
At Port Zante. You meet me by Digital Building.
Okay, cool.
Just ask jam down. I'm the governor down here. Walk up and down with Kennedy Simmons to approve this. And a man in return trying to victimize me when he picked up this country in 1993. Because I was around telling the constituents them to give Kennedy Simmons the support to make Port Zante reality. And none of them gonna move me from down here. The Lord God gonna make that decision. I don't know when. Have a good day, Mr. Cornelius.
Thank you so much for your.
Meet me because I want that. I want you especially to interview that young man.
Okay.
The strap. These stores down here, they got supplies. They're rotting on them. Nobody want to adherence to them. Me born here. And I will speak. Have a good day, Mr. Cornelius. See you when I come.
You too. And you have a good day as well. Thank you so much.
I will be by the bar in the center waiting for you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your input.
Yes.
We are still taking your calls here on WINN FM 98.9 for another edition of Voices. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius. If we have no calls at this time, let us say thank you to our sponsors real quick. And when we return, we will continue our program. You are listening to WINN FM 98.9.
Get ready for an exciting year with Flow Broadband and TV connecting you at home. Sign up now and get a free Samsung tablet worth over $900. Up to 100 megabits per second blazing internet will keep everyone on top of everything every day. While Flow TV delivers the best home entertainment with the latest shows on demand in HD plus favorites you can record. Visit your nearest Flow store today to sign up for Flow Broadband and TV and get your free Samsung tablet. Conditions apply.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Voices. We have a caller on the line. Caller, you are live.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing good. And you?
Good. I don't think it's fair that you fearmonger people into taking the vaccine. I think it should be their decision. And I want to say fearmonger, I mean that you threaten them by, okay, you're not going to have a job if you don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's right.
Right.
I really don't think that's right.
Right.
So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your input, caller. And I agree with you. I agree with you. We have another call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Hello. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon. It's me again. Now, you're talking about higher, and I've given my opinion about that, that private sector should be able to do whatever they want to do, where that is concerned. But even less than that, I also believe whether you use a true private company, I also believe that even if you go do business with them, they should be able to have the choice as to whether they want to do business with you if you are vaccinated or not. For example, if you want to go into a supermarket that is privately owned, I believe they should even have the right to whether to allow you or not, based upon are you vaccinated or not. That's so much I believe in the right of private property. And I'm going to also say as well, countries are run best by the private sector and not by the government sector. So I don't believe in this thing about the government is the one who ought to be running any country. The private sector is the one who ought to be doing that according to the Bible, because this is the Bible way to go. But the Marxists and socialists and Leninists and communists and fascists and so on, other ways to go is for government to be running the country, which does not work, but which bring hardship, pain, and that sort of stuff.
Do you know of any? Sorry, not to cut you off. Do you know of any private sector, or do you know of any country, where the private sector runs the country?
Well, not absolutely 100%, but we could rank countries. Countries have been ranked based upon economic freedom by the Heritage Foundation and that sort of stuff, as to which countries the private sector plays the biggest part in running the countries. It's not so 100%, but there are countries where it is more true than other countries where the private sector have a much greater part in running the country than other countries. And so and those rankings, the rankings of economic freedom, for example, economic freedom, I think the Heritage Foundation does and that sort of stuff, and you find that those countries where the private sector plays the biggest part in running those countries have a much higher standard of living and do much better than those other countries where the government have a greater part in running those countries and the private sector have a lesser part in running those countries. So it's not absolute in an absolute sense. There are scales of relative comparison as to how you can make comparison with different countries and to see who is doing the best. With those that where the private sectors have a greater role in running the country versus those where the private sector have a lesser role in running the countries. And those countries that really have the greatest role in running a greater role in running countries, those countries are doing the best. And those countries are at the head of the Human Development Index. That sort of stuff. So and that is going more and more in the Bible's direction of doing things, which is the private sector running the countries. If you want optimal growth, optimal prosperity, optimal success, and those sort of stuff.
Right.
Hello?
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah. But come back to what I originally said. Not only do I believe the private sector should have the right to determine who they're going to employ or not employ, but they should even have the right to determine who they're going to do business with.
Right. Thank you so much, caller, for
you.
your input. It is 22 minutes past the hour of 1. 23 minutes, past the hour of 1 in our studios. We are winding down. It was a very good program. We are still taking your calls. Call us at 466-0989-762 and 662. You can also shoot us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. And we are anticipating your participation here on Voices on WINN FM 98.9. I am your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. So we have another caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. You are live. We seem to have lost that call. Caller, you can call us back. We are still taking your calls. Caller is back? Okay, we have no calls at this time. So very interesting. We have another call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Very interesting with this thing you call the corona vaccination, right?
Yes.
They're telling you this and terror if you don't take the vaccination, whatever, right? Back in 1975, St Kitts people in the vote to buy our sugar land. But now taking place with our sugar land, either relate back to that day with this thing with the corona. Because had our land been given to we the people, we'd have been self-independent, we've been working for ourselves, and nobody would have been dictating to us if you ain't do this and you ain't do that, you ain't take the corona, if you ain't take the vaccination, you can't gonna work. How is it? Who's selling we land? They was never ever given no permission by we the people who own the land. So now we find ourselves now in a pocket territory, where in which now sometimes like 11 people making decisions about the land. Sell out this amount. Harsh Track, Kittish Hill. The Chinese get X amount of acres of our land to buy, and we the people who own the land never give no politician the right to sell it. So now we find ourselves in a situation now, if you ain't going to take the vaccination, you ain't going to work. When we never did give them the permission to sell we land, so here is it now. We are now landless. The choice now to say we're going to take the vaccination now. We're going to take the vaccination. Me for it one. I'm not going to encourage nobody not to take it. Me personally, I don't take. Me immune system is kind of how, and it's like, go take the vaccination. What would be the after effect going to happen to me? We supposed to know stand up and tell whoever in charge, because I get to know, because ever since the very first Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister too, and the present Prime Minister, they're selling our land without we giving them consent to sell it. So we now find ourselves in a situation, dog licking with supper. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for your input. We are still taking your calls. We'll just take about 2 more calls and then we'll wrap up our program here on WINN FM 98.9. You are listening to Voices. I'm your host for today, Devonne Cornelius. Very interesting topic that we're having today with regards to claims that employers are forcing their employees to take the vaccine. We have another call. Caller, good afternoon. You are live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I am doing well. How about you?
Awesome. Not bad at all.
I thought I would not get in.
You're
I'm
here now.
listening to all of the comments, and one of the things that COVID has taught me is patience and understanding.
Yes.
Because everybody has a right to feel the way they do, whether we agree with them or not. But I was listening to a couple of callers back, and he made the comment about not being sure if he wants to do it, to have the vaccine, and stating a couple of different things. One of the things that went through my mind was, okay, so this is all about me. This is all about you. But what about the people that live with you? We're fighting and arguing about the job, the workplace, the private company. What about those who live with us? What about our family members? What about our children? And what's more frightening for me is that those children are not being vaccinated. Anyone under 18, if I'm understanding this correctly,
yes, you're correct,
does not get a vaccine.
Right. Under 18 and over 18.
How are we protecting them if we decide we're not going to take the vaccine and we have younger persons living in our home? Forget about going outside. I'm talking about in the home. And that's something that a realization that I had to come to myself. Initially, I was not going to take the vaccine. I didn't want to hear about it. The last time I had a vaccine, I was a child, a little girl in Mott Cross school here in Nevis, the girls' school here in Nevis. And I've never had a vaccine since. But then I started thinking about the fact that I have an elderly father in my home.
Right.
And another elderly lady that lives with us. How am I going to protect them if I don't take this vaccine? How am I'm free to go out and come in and bring in and whatever it is that I want. How am I going to protect them if I don't take this vaccine? And that's something I wrestled with for a while. And that's something that all of us in this federation are going to have to wrestle with. Not only protecting lives, it's protecting jobs. So many people. I was talking to a young lady just about 2 days ago on the side of the road, and she said to me, well, I haven't worked since last year. And honestly, she caught me off guard, so I said, well, why? Forgetting all about the COVID and the hotels and stuff like that. That's absolutely frightening. You don't have an income since last year. And yes, you may have gotten a little $500 here or $500 there, or the stimulus at some point, but that stimulus is not ongoing.
No.
How do you survive from month to month? And if you have children or the people who are dependent on you, how are they surviving? And these are some of the things that we have to start paying close attention to. I saw an advisory go out the other day online on certain islands that people are being advised not to go to. Thank goodness that the people of St Kitts and Nevis have not had to worry about that, because we've done quite well. I get so many of my friends and people I know from abroad telling me how good we are doing down here, And we are. We have a lot to be thankful for. But we have to move on. How do we pick up with life and move on in this new normal? We have to protect ourselves. I had the vaccine about a week ago, and I can say to you, thank goodness, I have had no side effects. Thank goodness. Every day I wonder, well, will this be the day something will start happening? I don't know. It's frightening. It's new. It's new for us, right? And as someone spoke about the negative stuff, there's so much negative stuff out there that how are we going to survive? There's so much fear. There's so much fear that we have to live with that it's nauseating. If we continue to try to live with this fear, we may not move off the crease from our homes and go anywhere. We'll be stuck in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do the right thing, not for us, not for your own self, but for those around you, your family members, the people you work with, in your church, whoever that you associate with, and the country as a whole, so that we can move forward. St Kitts and Nevis, we've been doing well. Let's move forward. But let's be patient and understanding, and you never know. After a while, that person that you thought you could never convince will tell you they're ready to take the vaccine.
Right. Thank you so
Have
much.
a good afternoon, Devon.
You too.
We have a lot to catch up on.
Yes.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, Tessa, for your input. Let me say thank you to all of you who participated in our program today. I'm grateful for the many feedback, different views and opinions on this very important and ticklish topic. Thank you so much for your participation. Continue to listen to WINN FM 98.9. Have a wonderful Wednesday and stay safe.